Ah yes, the Roaring Twenties, one of my favorite eras in fashion. All-Time Gringa and JBV requested a tutorial on how to make a 1920s flapper costume. So, let's make it happen. First up, a signature headpiece. Cut a piece of stretch sequin that is big enough to go around your head. Not too tight, but not too loose. Use E6000 glue to glue the ends together. Then add some feather accents. I got this one from Michaels. Glue it down and let it dry a bit. Clamping it together really helps make a strong connection. Then use a regular craft glue such as Eileen's Tacky Glue to attach the smaller feathers. Lastly, attach a bauble of some sort, maybe an old brooch, again clamping it together and letting it dry. Once it's all dry, that puppy ain't going anywhere. Headpiece? Check! For the dress, you'll need a simple pattern. This pattern represents 1/4 of the entire dress. I like to draw my patterns on graph paper first so I get an idea of what I'm doing. Okay, line A to B is your overbust measurement divided by 4. Line A to C is the distance between your overbust to your bust. Line C to D is your bust measurement divided by 4. Line C to E is the distance from your bust to your hips. Line E to F is your hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1/2 inch for ease. Line E to G is the distance from your hips to where you want the skirt bottom to be plus a hem allowance. Line G to H is the same as line E to F. Once your pattern's all mapped out, draw it to scale. Measure and mark both sides of the pattern every 5 inches till you reach the bottom of the pattern. This is where your fringe layers are going to be placed. For the main fabric, I'm using a debutante stretch satin. The weft of this fabric is really stretchy, and the warp not at all. Place the fabric together, right sides together, and position the center front line of the pattern along the fold of the fabric. The non-stretchy part of the fabric, or warp, should be going this way, and the stretchy part, or weft, should be going this way. Now trace the pattern onto the fabric with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And don't forget to trace the markings you made at every 5 inch mark. Open up the fabric and you have the front half of your dress all traced out. Then use pinking shears to cut along the cut line. Repeat all those steps for the back half of the dress. Time for the fringe! This is 6-inch rayon chainette fringe. Line the top edge of the fringe up with the top edge of the front half of the dress. Cut the fringe so it's as wide as the fabric. Now pin and sew it on using this stitch or a zigzag stitch. First layer, done! Locate your 5-inch marks for the next layer on the back of the fabric, and mark with pins so you can see where the marks are when the fabric is right side up. Now mark where the pins are with tailor's chalk and remove the pins. Line another strip of fringe up using those marks so the sewn part of the fringe rests just above each mark, and pin it to the fabric. Sew that layer on and repeat that process at every 5-inch mark you made till you reach the bottom, with the last layer hanging over the bottom hem. Once all your layers are sewn on, remove the bottom threads that hold the ends of the fringe together. Then do all that to the back piece of the dress. Place the back and front together, right sides together, and pin them together down both sides. Carefully remove the fringe in the seam allowance to rest outside of the pin line, and make sure not to pin any of the fringe inside. Then carefully sew along both pin lines using a straight stitch. Trim the excess outside fringe off and turn right side out. For the hem, I'm doing a simple double turn hem since you're not really going to be able to see it. Just fold, press, and sew.